If you've ever been out to Canyon Lake, you know the look. That really vibrant, sometimes kind of alarming shade of green in the water. It's a sight we've all gotten used to. Well, today, we're going to get to the bottom of it and solve the real mystery behind the color of Canyon Lake.
Now, your first thought, everyone's first thought, is algae, right? It seems like a pretty open and shut case. But what if I told you that algae is just the symptom of something much, much bigger happening? So what is really going on beneath that green surface? Okay, so here's our game plan. We're gonna start by looking past the algae to find the real culprit. Then, we'll talk about something we're calling the lake's junk food, where this all comes from. After that, we'll get into the toxic chain reaction it causes, look at what's being done to fix it, and finally, we'll bring it right back to your own backyard. All right, first up, it's more than just algae. Let's peel back that green layer and really uncover what's driving this whole thing. So here's the deal. The thing we can all see, the crazy algae blooms, the green, murky water, that's the visible problem. But the invisible cause, the thing you can't see, is an overload of nutrients in the water, specifically nitrogen and phosphorus. You can think of it like this. The algae isn't the fire, it's just the smoke. The real fire is this hidden fuel that's feeding it. So that brings us to our next question. Where is all this fuel coming from? This is what we're calling the lake's junk food. We're about to see how our everyday lives are kind of unintentionally feeding these huge algae blooms. Now, there's a sciencey name for this, eutrophication. It sounds complicated, but I promise it's not. All it means is that a lake is getting way too many nutrients, and that causes an explosion of plant life. It's this over-enrichment that kickstarts a whole bunch of problems, starting with that green water. And this is where it gets really eye-opening. You're gonna recognize this list. The nitrogen and phosphorus are coming from stuff we all use. I mean, just one bag of lawn fertilizer can have enough phosphorus to trigger an algae bloom in a whole cove of the lake. It's in pet waste that's not picked up, it's in our soaps, and it all gets washed down storm drains and flows straight into Canyon Lake, completely unfiltered. And this overload doesn't just make the water look bad. No, it kicks off this really dangerous, toxic chain reaction that can lead to something way more serious, dead zones. Okay, let's just walk through this cycle real quick. First, the nutrients get into the water. That causes the algae to just explode. But here's the thing, all that algae eventually dies and sinks. And as it rots at the bottom of the lake, that process literally sucks all the oxygen out of the water. And that's how you get a dead zone, an area with so little oxygen that fish and other critters just can't survive. And listen, this isn't just some theory, it is very, very real. Back in 2025, Canyon Lake had this catastrophic golden algae event. See, this specific type of algae releases a toxin that actually attacks the gills of fish. And all those extra nutrients in the water, they created the perfect storm for it to just thrive. The result was heartbreaking. Thousands of dead fish washing up on shore. It was a wake-up call, a perfect example of this toxic cycle in action. It's just like the Lake Advocacy Committee said. This whole process throws the lake's natural balance completely out of gear. It just weakens the entire ecosystem, which makes it way more vulnerable to any kind of stress, whether that's a drought, a heat wave, or anything else. But it is not all bad news, not by a long shot. There are some serious efforts underway to fix this. So let's look at how we're fighting back against this nutrient overload and actually starting to turn the tide. You know, this isn't a new fight. In fact, since 2004, the lake has basically been put on a strict pollution diet. It's a state-mandated plan, and it's called a total maximum daily load, or TMDL. That just sets a hard limit on how much nitrogen and phosphorus can even get into the water. And that plan led to some really proactive solutions, like alum treatments, where a compound is used to basically grab onto phosphorus and lock it away so the algae can't use it as food. And does it work? Oh yeah, just look at this. You can see a very clear drop in phosphorus levels after these treatments started. It's proof, it's actual evidence that these big picture interventions are having a real positive impact on the health of the lake. Which brings us to, honestly, the most important part of this whole story. Because the official programs are great, but the long-term fix, that involves every single one of us. It literally starts in your own yard. Look, it really comes down to 3 super simple things that have a massive collective impact. Using fertilizers responsibly, or maybe not at all. Always, and I mean always, picking up after your pet, and just making sure yard clippings don't end up in the storm drain. Every single one of those little choices helps starve the algae of its fuel. So the main thing to take away here is that protecting Canyon Lake isn't just a job for some committee or some government agency. It is a shared responsibility. Every single homeowner, every pet owner, every person who lives here plays a critical role in keeping this amazing place healthy for generations to come. At the end of the day, the science is crystal clear, and the path forward is too. The future of Canyon Lake is quite literally in our hands, in our yards, and in the choices we make every day. So the only question left to ask is, are we all in?